Thanks so much, RTTers and Claire, for coming along, and obviously Kevin and Sanjay as well. Thank you so much. It's really exciting. I feel super fortunate to actually have Kevin and Sanjay on. I'm in a mastermind with these guys, and Sanjay, as you've seen in some of my email, he's a kind of high performance business coach. He works incredibly well, both with paid adverts, but equally, and what we're going to be discussing a lot today, I think, is more the organic essence. And it's been really beneficial for me. And equally, Kevin is incredibly gifted when it comes to technology. We think he's kind of like the beta man, like anything that's in beta, he kind of wants to be in it, and he's figuring it out and learning and searching. So he's kind of always on top of his game with anything new on the web. So yeah, really lucky to have both of them come. I'm really happy. And so you know what generally this is going to be about, and it's what makes a business successful. And you know, right now in today's climate, why having an online business is a real opportunity. And then kind of how to grow the business organically using the right tools to support us as individuals, rather than us being all over the place and feeling confused and put out by it. So on that, I'm going to pass it over to Sanjay. And
thank you. Yeah, thanks, Ray. So like Ray said, I'm a high performance and business coach. I'm also from the UK. So what does that really mean? Well, the high performance side is a lot about personally how you show up, your habits, your routines, your productivity, your effectiveness. The business side is obviously how you grow your business. So just out of curiosity, I would like to know from you guys, well, obviously I know where you're from now, who do you serve? Like, who's your target audience? If you could type that in the chat, or you can unmute and say it if you like as well. And also, what is your biggest challenge right now? So it could be with growing the business, it could be personally with, you know, not sure what to do. Could be some sort of strategy that's not working. Let me know as much as possible, because then obviously I can tailor this to exactly what you need.
So shall I start, Sanjay?
Go for it.
This is Mariola. So for now, I focus in overwhelmed, overstretched women, mums, really, that they try, you know, that they're anxious, they cannot get to what they want to do, and they feeling like they're damaged. You know, perhaps, you know, they're trying to balance career with parenthood, and they just not doing that well. So that's what well, for now, because as I said, Sanjay, is something that it might evolve and change, but that's what I have decided to go with. Where I struggle right now is probably prioritizing. You know, this is, I mean, I've been qualified for just over a year, and obviously with everything in life and with so much to learn, you know, it's a new career for me, it's a new vocation, you know, it's extensive, you know, you could go so many ways, you know, should I do this, should I do inner child, should I do, you know, so I find it difficult, you know, where to focus. Do I do my website, do I do Instagram, you know, it's so much to do that I get overwhelmed, and it kind of paralyzes me anyway, because I'm thinking, gosh, you know, it's so much to do. I don't know where to start and how to prioritize.
Fantastic. Yeah. So that's really interesting. So how did you come up with targeting overwhelmed and anxious mums who feel damaged?
I guess because I was one of them, or I'm still am, I guess. You know, I think it was the easy target. You know, it's something that obviously I have experience. I you know, I have quite a bit of knowledge before I started my own vocation. So I thought, you know, that seems the easy way. I'm gonna feel related to women in those positions.
Yeah, it makes sense. Often we coach people on the thing that we've overcome ourselves, right? So and are you using like RTT? What are you using to
I'm using RTT, yes.
Yeah.
At the moment,
Okay.
yes, only RTT.
Okay, great. So how many people have you coached so far? of these types of people? Sorry,
Well, it's not coaching, but yeah, I have had a dozen of paying clients so far since I started. But then a dozen, yeah, 12,
Yeah.
12
Yeah.
clients. And I'm talking, that's the other thing, Sanjay. In my case, you know, I have a young family. I work as well part-time for somewhere else. So you know, as much as yes, I do want to do well, it has to fit with the rest of my life. You know, if you would say, Mariella, would you like 40 clients a week? No, thank you. You know, well, or no as it is at the moment, because that will be so busy and it will be, you know, it will stress me out so much. So it's finding that balance again, that is still, you know, I'm moving forward in my business towards what one day will be bigger, because I will have more time or more inclination or more knowledge, but it's still, you know, going towards the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. So it has to fit around obviously your family life, right?
Absolutely.
How many clients do you have right now?
Right now, what do you mean? This is not an on, well, it is to a certain extent. So at the moment, I just have one going.
Okay. And how did you
Not
find
really.
those 12?
So it was through workshops. I did a couple of workshops at the beginning of the year, and it was very small, but it was, you know, quite successful. I had a good, you know, return. Also through social media, I'm in Instagram. I used to be more active, but I still show up, you know, at least twice a week.
Yeah.
Through Facebook, through ferals. So yeah. I'm
Yeah.
going back to your question. Sorry, Jay. Even if I, you know, I have, because this is quite ongoing. You know, even if it's I already have done perhaps what the main session is, I do have 3 or 4 clients still on the go, but it's very minimal following as it is now.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. So one of the things, you know, I'm going to be jumping all over the place here
Sure.
because I'm obviously helping you guys specifically. So what you did to find those 12 clients is, you know, that is something that works, right? So it's something that a lot of people do, and they do it frequently, and they build that base. So for example, how many people did you get into the workshop itself?
Well, that's how it was very successful, because it was a very small workshop. It was only 8 people, of which I think 4 of them became, over the months, it wasn't a straight away clients. So that was very successful. I must have done something very right in there.
Yeah, exactly. So you converted 50%,
Mm.
right? So how many when was that workshop?
That was January.
January. And when did you have you done another one since or not?
No, as such, because of course confinement was on, and you know that was face-to-face workshop. So I did all this online, but they went well. It wasn't a workshop as such. The others that I did online, it was more of a guided meditation, more of a service. It wasn't so much about talking about what I do and how it can serve people.
Right. So is what I recommend for you is do that workshop but online. Right? So just convert it to online, and you can do a presentation, you can share your screen if that's what you were doing. Often is what we do, and you know, I've been guilty of this many times, is something works and then we look for something else, right? But in business, when something works, actually you want to say, oh, I need to do that again and again and again and again. And in your case, you did a workshop for 8 people and 4 converted, which is crazy. That's a really high rate, right? So you should be doing one of these once per month, and you should be putting content out on your Instagram and your Facebook to get people to the workshop.
That's what I was going to comment, Sanjay, because this particular workshop, I didn't organize it. I went, you know, this was something that it was organized by, you know, a community, a local community, and I was invited, and I did it to help out and so on. So there were not people that I actually brought in. So if I was going to do it myself, then how would you get the interest for people to turn up?
Yeah. So there's so many different ways, but you could, first of all, get the workshop material ready, and then I would start with friends and family.
Okay.
And say, look, I'm putting on a workshop. It's free, right? It's completely free.
Yeah.
And it's for overwhelmed and anxious mums. Yeah, feeling damaged is maybe you want to go a little bit deeper into that, right? So maybe 2 or 3 bullet points, or up to 5, saying for mums who wake up in the morning and they feel drained before the day started.
Okay.
Right. And for mums who just feel, but there's just no ending, right? Like they can't have, maybe they have two kids or more, right? I'm just making this up, obviously.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah. So you want to be specific, and you want the person reading it to say, wow, that's me, right? That's the key with the bullet points that you write. So another mistake people make is they say, no, it's for all mums, or it's for all anxious mums, but that's fine. And we know it works for all anxious mums, but it doesn't speak to them directly.
Sure.
So one of the things we have, because we all have just too many messages like bombarding us constantly.
Absolutely.
Buy my thing or sign up to this. So you want to be the person who goes super narrow and says, do you feel, when you're trying to get your kids into the car, that you just almost want to just give up and let's just slam the door and run off, right? Stuff like that, because people are going to relate to that. Now, your target audience a lot better than I do, right? But those are the things you want to do. Now, if you don't know exactly, what language to put in there, then you can just interview, right? So maybe some of your past clients or other people, you can just say, hey, do you mind doing a quick 10-minute interview? I'm just trying to do a little bit of market research. And you want to use the language they use, right? You don't want to change the language, because often they give you the most valuable stuff just in the words they say. So I'll give you an example from my side. People say like, for high performance, right? They'll say something like, and it just felt by the time I get to the end of the day that I've done nothing again. Right. So it's those words. If I put that into some sort of language on my ad or for my workshop and say, do you feel like you get to the end of the day, you've done 20 things, but deep down you feel you've done nothing?
Right.
Then they say, yeah, that does feel like me. So you want people to respond to you on an emotional level, and you want it to be very specific. So at this stage, you might say, well, how do I even go about this? You don't necessarily need to know right now. Is what you need to do is take action and produce the workshop and commit yourself to say, whatever happens, even if no one comes, I'm going to do 1 workshop per month, right? And is what you'll find is that commitment, without having to worry about all these other things, you're just focusing on 1 workshop per month, then all the other things you're doing, like on Instagram, you can put out some content around it saying, take 1 little piece of your workshop and do a little session on that, right? Or even get someone, maybe a past client, to come on to your Instagram. I think you can do that still on Instagram, right? With 2 people.
Sure.
And have a little mini like chat/coaching session about it. I know you're doing RTT, it's different, but what you're getting them is a result, right? Ultimately, that's what you're doing. You're getting them a result. And if you can demonstrate to the person watching, oh, she really knows what she's talking about, and I know she's helped other people in the past, right? So that's another thing you want to do. You want to get social proof, right? You want to get testimonials. Now, video testimonials are the most powerful, right? It's a different level to text. Text, I mean, it's nice, but subconsciously we kind of think, well, you could have just written that and made that up. But when you hear, let's say you were my client and I get you to speak about your experience, and there's stories in there of the pain before. So this is really important. Get stories of the pain before, right? What was happening for you in your life? Tell me a bit about it. And then when they say, oh, I just couldn't get out of bed. You say, oh, so what was happening? You say, well, I was ending up getting out of bed at like 9 a.m. and I should have been out by 7:30. And then I was behind with the kids. Like I had to make their food, and it just caused chaos for my whole day. Right. So if someone else is saying that, and then they talk about doing the RTT and how you reprogram their mind, and then on the other side of that, They were getting up at 7:30, they were organized, they had everything in order, they just felt peace and calm, right? And if someone's saying this and someone's watching it going, I want that. I want that transition from chaos to peace, right? That's when people buy your services. And the more of that you get, the better, right? So have a think for all of you here, how many of those could you get? Could you get 3 of those, right? 3 video testimonials talking about the pain before and what they did with you. If you can't get that, then go and do free sessions with the promise that they'll give you a video testimonial. So say, look, you're getting this session, which is worth £100, £200, whatever you price your services at. You're getting this for free with the condition that if you feel that it was good for you, you just jump on a Zoom and give me a quick 5 to 10 minute little story of how it worked for you, right? And you'll eventually find 3 people. Now with you, you've got 12 paid clients, but obviously I'm speaking to everyone here. So that's what you want to get. You want to get social proof, right? So you can then advertise the workshop, because if you've got little snippets of people who've been through your training, they're going to want to go to the workshop. And the workshop itself, even if they're not paid clients, you can get testimonials for the workshop. Say, oh, Mariola's workshop, oh, it's just phenomenal. I learned so much. I got X, Y, and Z out of it. You have to join. It's free, right? Then think about that. It's free. People are saying you have to join. I got these 3 results out of it, whatever they are. Other people are going to want to come and join the free one, right? So it really is a funnel. So once you get more people coming into the free, right, you're going to eventually get more paid clients because you'll have an offer at the end of your workshop. Right? Am I moving too fast here, or you get?
No, you're perfectly fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So really for you, I would say strip away everything else and focus on getting people to your workshop that you hold once per month. And you'll find that when you focus your attention on that, you'll just get better at it. So we'll talk about, I mean, with your organic, you said you're doing organic marketing. What are you doing exactly to find those people?
No, I'm not doing, well, I'm not doing organic marketing as such. I'm just visible in Instagram and in Facebook. Well, actually Facebook, I wouldn't even mention it because I do have a page that hardly gets any visibility anyway. So yes, I show up in those 2 platforms. I'm not doing anything with it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk about that organic marketing and how you can do that. You don't really need many people to like your Facebook page or anything like that. The advantage with Facebook is there's 2 billion users, monthly users. I think it's that crazy, right? And there's less than 8 billion people in the world. So that's 1 in 4 people, right? So likely there's like 10 to 20 million people who could afford your services, who are using that every day, right? So think about it that way. You only need a few, like 10 of those to have like a thriving business. If you don't want 10 because of your family, then you can have as many as you like. So it's not really, we build it up to be this big thing in our head, but it's not really. It's all it is spending a little bit of consistent time on it every day, right? So that could be 30 minutes. It could be an hour. It could be whatever you're willing to put in. 15 minutes even. I know people with a thriving business who just go on for 15 minutes, scan, see if there's anyone they can add value to, right? Which I'm going to show you later, like what you can do. But you want to make that a habit, right? Because in business, it's about, just like in a job, right? You can't just show up like half the time and do what you want. You have to do the things you don't necessarily like in the beginning, and you have to do it consistently. It's the same with entrepreneurship, right? You have to be showing up and getting out there. And the thing that people don't like is there's no guarantee, right? You could go on there for 30 minutes and find nothing, right? Which happens sometimes. But if you do it every day, is what you're going to find is maybe 1 or 2 of those days you actually get into a conversation with someone, and then you could get them onto the phone and just really discover, where they're at. And some of the time those people are ideal to become clients. And the more you do of that, especially in the beginning, that will increase the referrals, it will increase your reach, because there's something hidden behind the sort of very tangible things that we see, where people start to get to know you without you even knowing they exist.
Sure.
Right, which is why content works really well, because there's people in the background who are watching your stuff and you don't even know they exist. They don't like, they don't comment, they just watch, right? And then those guys, is what often happens, is they come out the woodwork after a few months and they're like, hey, I've been watching your stuff. You're like, who even are you, right? I didn't even know you existed. So there's a lot of these hidden forces that you have to be aware of and have faith in, and continue to put yourself out there. So if you've got a family and you say, look, I can't do much, then could you commit to, you know, one little post? It could be like a question, an engagement post. So it could be something like, let's say for anxious mums, it could be, do you even have time to prepare your own food? Or do you have time to have lunch? Or is it always about your kids? Right? Something like that. Again, that's not necessarily the best thing, but you'll be good at creating these little questions. That's an engagement question you can put out into Facebook groups. Right? Now, the groups you'll be targeting are groups which have anxious mums, or at least mums, right? Then there's a certain proportion that are going to be anxious and overwhelmed, probably a very high proportion, right? To be honest. So you want to be going into joining Facebook groups where your target audience is hanging out, right? So for mums, there's going to be, I mean, let me share my screen and let's see. Can I share my screen, Ray? Is that possible?
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay, so I haven't, this is all, you know, in the moment. I've never looked for mums groups before, so let's see what we find. Can you see my Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, so here, I mean, you guys spell mum, I mean, UK, we spell mum like that, right? So give me an idea, what sort, so mum, look, mums who clean, I mean, that could even be something there. Is what I would probably start with. Look, so that's mums who clean, 276,000 people in it.
Wow.
Right, so they probably wouldn't accept me, but let's have a look. So this is interesting. This is a group for Aussie mums. It's a place for friends and sharing. Okay, so obviously if you're not an Aussie mum, they're not most likely not going to say, I mean, they might ask you, are you from Australia? And you could say, no, but I have connections to Australia. Yeah, you just want to get yourself in there and having a look. We're not doing anything nefarious. We're just trying to get in there. And then read the rules as well, right? If they tell you no private messaging, then just don't bother doing it. Find a group where you can do that. But then you would join that. And then you would check out, like you could do a little intro. You could say, hey, I'm Mario, and I just wanted to say hello. I'm a mum of two boys, whatever, just a little introduction, and then they'll all connect with you. Even that intro post alone is a way to start building relationships. We're not going in there to like offer something, right? Not in the beginning. You're going in there to build relationships, right? Just like if I was getting to know Ray, I'm not going to go, hey, Ray, you know, like this is what a mistake a lot of people make, is they're like, hey, Ray, how's the business going with your RTT? And Ray's like, oh, come on, man, you're just trying to sell me your business coaching, right? Whereas I would take a genuine interest in Ray, say, you know, hey, Ray, I noticed we're both in Warren's mastermind. So you look for like a mutual, some sort of connection. You're not always going to have that, but you want to find something. Yeah, it could be, hey, Ray, I noticed, you know, we're both from the UK, or we're both from London, right? So something like that. So say, hey, yeah, how you doing? Right? Obviously, something like we're both in the same mastermind is a much stronger connection than it is Just, we're both from the UK, but that's still better than nothing, right? So look at this, the Business Mums Networking Hub, right? So you could join this. Mums in Business International, digital nomad mums, right? So there could be some stressed out digital nomad mums moving around with their kids, which I can kind of imagine to be too easy. But there's going to be tons of these groups, right? There's going to be, so you want to look for ones where ideally, this is what's going to happen. There's going to be some groups where it's like 500 to 1,000, where they'll be more intimate and you can build relationships a lot better. There'll be some huge ones like, 100K and things like that, where obviously there's a lot of people there and you can connect with them, but it's not going to be as intimate. So you want to play around and go into these different groups, but at first just kind of check them out, right? And see what they're posting. So here, do you know this groups button up here that they've got on Facebook? If I click that, obviously this is all going to be related to my stuff, but you see what people are posting and you can then go in. So for example, product launch formula from Jeff Walker, there's people posting all this stuff at the moment because he's just launched it. So I can go in and look. So let's say I was helping fitness coaches, right? Then with their business, if that was my thing, then I could go in here and see who, look, this guy, Matt, is like, oh, it's part of my program. So I could then like that and reply and say, it's something like, hey, Matt, I saw you're doing partly fitness coaching. What sort of fitness coaching do you do? Right. And then he might say, hey, I'm doing this, this, and this. And then whatever he's saying, so you're trying to you may ask about that as more just to inquire what he's doing. And then you can then start to move it towards, I'm actually helping fitness coaches at the moment with a new strategy to get more clients, right? That you wouldn't say that immediately, but after 5 or 6 things, yeah, I've got 2 techniques, so they're completely free. Would you be interested in learning about them? Right? He might say no, or he might say, yeah, I mean, it's free, right? Then you might schedule a call. You'd say, look, it's too much to talk about here. Let's have a quick call. Then you get on the call. Once you're on the call, everything changes, right? Because then you can actually spend time with them and show them, look, you're a genuine person, you can help them. The problem is getting to the call. That's what's hard, right? Whereas once you're on the call, you can talk about, where they're at, what they're looking to achieve, and whether your solution fits. If your solution doesn't fit, then obviously you're not going to offer them anything, right? Never do that, right? Because then that's when it feels horrible. You're not helping people. We're not doing what we're really meant to do, right? But if it does fit, then you can offer them something, right? So what I would say is go into these Facebook groups and join as many as you can and start looking at what they're posting, and then because a lot of these are going to be just useless stuff that's not really that connected to what you do, then you don't necessarily have to post on them. But eventually you're going to find something if you're joining the right groups, right? So if you're where your target audience is hanging out, so in your case it would be mums, then you're going to find eventually someone that is suitable. You can answer their question, you can like it, reply to it, and get in a little dialogue with them. And then you can actually PM them and then say, look, hey, I didn't want to cause any fuss in the group. I just wanted to mention that I can actually help you with your anxiety. I have this technique that I found works really well for me. Would you be interested in learning about it? It's completely free. Right? And then a lot of people, some will say no, some will say yes. Those people who say yes, you get on a call with them. So it really is a lot. There's a lot of potential here because, like I said, there's 2 billion people using this, right? So if you can commit 30 minutes a day to join these groups and go in, now you're not always just going to be looking for someone else's post. Look at this. Look, is anyone feeling else feeling stuck, lost, or overwhelmed at the moment, right? If this was a mum, right, let's say this was in a mum's group, which there's going to be loads of these types of posts, then you're going to get people who either are trying to help them, or people who are saying, yes, that's me as well, right? So here,
Sanjay, I'm just going to jump in. Is just because of timings and things, Mariola, is this helpful at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's very helpful. Thank you.
Amazing. Has you got any specific questions that other people on this that Sanjay's talking about?
This is really helpful for me because I've been posting and really not getting anywhere. So this is great. Very interested.
Amazing. Great.
Okay, good. Thank you for that feedback. Yeah, this applies to everyone, by the way, right? Not just Mario, it's everyone, because you're going to find groups where your target audience says there's literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of them there. And so you can post a question like this as well, right? You could post a question like this in the group. Now you've got to be a bit careful because some people, they just make it so obvious that they're just trying to find clients, right? Don't be that person that just goes in and says, oh, what's your number one problem, right? I could ask you that at the start of this call because of the context, right? You know, I'm trying to help you here, right? Whereas in this, it's a bit different. We're not just trying to go in and do that because everyone's like, oh, come on, you're just trying to get clients, right? So you have to be, a little bit more, a little smarter about the way you do it. So you can ask questions like this. This is a great question, right? Is anyone else feeling stuck, lost, or overwhelmed at the moment? If you are, or she could be talking about some of her clients, and and that's a relevant question. So let's say, look, sometimes I feel stuck or I've fallen away from my good habits, right? And then for me, I'm a high performance coach. I can say, hey, Brandon, yeah, I totally relate to that. I have some, this may be too soon, to be honest, but you could say, one thing that I found is useful, and then add value, right? One thing that I found is useful is building a morning routine, doing exercise, then meditation, then eating protein, right? And then he might say, oh, thanks, Sanjay, that's really cool. Then I can like his comment, whatever that he said, that's really cool. Then I can PM him, right? And then say, hey, Brandon, I'm glad you liked my little mini routine. I've actually got a whole system that I can give you completely free that will help you with developing your good habits if you're interested, right? What's the worst that's going to happen? He's going to say no, which happens sometimes. And I say, okay, cool, no problem. Right? But he might say, yeah, sure, it's free, right? And I've already given him some value, right? He knows that I can actually give him something because I've already given him something that he said, oh yeah, that's really useful. Then I'm just offering to give him even more for free, right? Then when he says, yeah, that would be interesting, and this is on PM, private message, then I can say, okay, cool. So I can't explain this over text. It's, it's going to take a little bit more. Shall we just jump on a quick 10-minute call? Right, 10, 15-minute call, whatever you want to say, 15 minutes, and I can explain it to you. He said, yeah, sure, no worries. Okay, so, and then you give him your Zoom link, Calendly link, whatever it is, and then you get on the call. So everything we're doing is we're moving to get them onto a call, right? Because no one's going to sign up to your coaching or your RTT, whatever you're calling it, unless you get them on a call, right? It's just unlikely. Only very sophisticated marketers do that.
Sanjay, would you use one of those posts, for instance, to say, hey, I'm having a workshop online, totally free for those who feel overwhelmed. Would you like to join me? So, something like this, you could just say, this is what I offer. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So you could change that instead of getting them onto the call, you could get them into the workshop, right? And you could say, look, I have a workshop. It's completely free. It runs at the end of the month or the first of the month, whenever it is. Here are some of the things you're going to learn, like 2 or 3 bullet points, 5 bullet points, however, but make them really compelling. Like in this workshop, you will learn how the top 2 techniques to go from anxious to calm within 3 minutes. Right? It's got to be compelling. It's got to be like, oh, wow, that's cool. And it's free. right? So one of the things that I want everyone here to really understand is you want to just overload them with value, right? Give them value. So it's just, it makes it a complete no-brainer. So they say, wow, I'm going to learn how to go from being completely stressed out to calm and peaceful within 5 minutes with this one technique. And I'm getting this for free? Yeah, sign me up, right? It has to be like that. It has to be so compelling that they just want to, like, yeah, okay, let's join, right? Because remember, again, there's just too many offers going around. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Jay, I'm just going to jump in just to offer something to the people here who are in the RTT forum, because you see it all the time. You see the most incredible posts on the RTT forum where people are just giving value, and they're giving all of their history on how they got through the course, on what they did to help them when they were learning about RTT, and they give loads and loads of value in posts, and they get people thanking them. You know, you'll see some of the posts with hundreds of comments saying, "Oh my God, this is amazing! Thank you so much for offering this information. This makes me feel so much more comfortable doing the RTT online now," and so on and so forth. And lo and behold, what comes at the end, not on the post at the end of it, but a few posts after that, is their new course, you know, a visibility course. But that wouldn't be on the RTT forum. That would be, they would have messaged them, private messaged them, or they would have got them on a call or something like that. Yeah, I just wanted to put it into context as well, just for the RTT.
Yeah, that's excellent, Ray. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, is what they're doing is they're adding value and then eventually moving them into their sphere, right? And you might think, oh, that's a bit sleazy. It's not, though, because remember, is what we're doing is we're helping people who we can help, right? So someone who has a problem that they need to solve, and you have the solution. Anyone who doesn't fit in that, we're not helping, right? So that's the most important thing to keep in your mind. You don't want to be going after people who don't have an urgent problem that you can solve, because you're wasting their time, you're wasting your time. It feels horrible, and it's not what we're doing here, right? So we're looking on Facebook, these groups, right, to find people who are suitable. And the only way to do that is to be consistently putting in that half an hour every day. Some days, I'll tell you now, 100% guaranteed, some days you'll scroll through this and you'll be like, I didn't find anything. That's fine, right? Then the next day, again, you go again, and you might find something, you might not. But then eventually what happens is you actually get better at the process. You'll become more refined, because like anything, you're practicing, but you will start to find people, and you will start to get on more calls. And that is what's going to get you clients, right? And once you've got quite a few clients, you can either tone it down, or you can maybe do it slightly shorter time, but you kind of want to keep the pipeline going. Like for me, I've got enough clients, but so this is the thing that sometimes I'm not doing enough of, to be honest, because I don't particularly enjoy it. It's not something I'm like, oh great, I get to do this. And sometimes in my mind, I muddle it as like, this isn't high value, but actually it is extremely high value, because this is building your pipeline of clients. Now, if you're like Mario and you have a workshop, you want to be funneling people into that workshop as much as possible, because every month, because even if you don't have time for more one-on-one clients, you can then set up a group coaching program. And that group coaching program is what allows you to really scale and make a lot more money, because then you're not as bound by time, right? It's one to many. So you can make more. Go ahead.
No, nothing, Sanjay. I was just agreeing.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you had a question. So yeah, so this is something I encourage you all to do. Clock in like it's a job, right? You get up in the morning. You first of all, you need to find these groups, right? So it's going to be different for all of you, but I can assure you there's going to be a ton of groups out there, right? So let's find out from other people now. Let's get some more examples. Where are you at? Who are you serving? Are you written? Let's see what people have written in the chat here. So Jackie, small business owners who have blocks around self-belief, money, and visibility. Yeah, so that for you you would be going into places where small business owners are active, right? And there's more than enough groups for you for a lifetime to keep you occupied. They're everywhere. You're literally any excuse me, any group where it's like a paid product for like marketing, or so like product launch formula, Jeff Walker's, right? You just saw that there. You know, if you're part of any of these paid things that you've bought before, they're the best groups. Why? Because one, they've already paid money for something. They're not these guys who just float around the free. They've paid 2K for Jeff's product. So they spend money on their business and themselves, right? These are the best groups, by the way. If you're part of any paid groups, they're the ones to spend time and attention, because you know these guys spend money and invest on themselves and their business. So is what you want to do there is you want to get into conversations with people and find out, you know, where you can give them a little bit of value. So you could say something like, one thing I found is, you know, I was trying to scale my business to 50,000 or whatever it is, and I kept getting stuck at the 30,000 level or the whatever level. And I then realized that I had a belief that was blocking me from getting to 50,000. And as soon as I cleared that belief, I was able to generate it, right? Or it could be from another client. That's even better, right? It's someone else I've worked with. And then they'll say, oh, really? Yeah. Could you tell me more about that? Oh, yeah, sure. I have a free, right? We're always going to free, right? I have a free workshop or a free whatever it is, like a masterclass or a free, and then you want to get them from into that masterclass, into that workshop. Once you're doing that consistently, then you will get clients, right? Just like Mariola said with hers, she converted 50%, which is crazy. That's really high. So you will, but you need to get the top of the funnel. You need to get people coming in. And I would focus, like Mariola said, with her workshop, I would do one thing, get them into one thing. Then all your content, you're always trying to get them to this one thing, right? And the more you do it, the better you get. And you'll find like certain strategies work. You'll just figure it out as you're getting more people in. But again, I would start with friends and family, getting the word out. Sorry, I have to cough here. Sorry, I've got something in my throat. So with friends and family, you can put out the message like, I'm looking for small business owners who are potentially blocked of scaling their business. You don't have to say self-belief, money, and visibility, because a lot of people don't really understand what that is, right? Just say, look, who are trying to scale the business. They're trying to get up to a certain level, could be 50,000, 100,000, whatever it is, but they're struggling. I'm looking for those people because I'm putting on a free workshop, free whatever it is, to help them with that. And then you give them value, right? You give them value, and then you can make them an offer at the end, right? People generally like this, right? When you help people, you're showing them that you are the authority that can help them. You're not the scam artist who's trying to just take their money, right? And that's really what they're worried about. They're concerned that you're not going to deliver. So you have to show them you can deliver in the workshop, in the presentation, whatever it is you're doing. And you just want to find those people on Facebook, bring them in. Now you can do other forms of content where you're making like a video, or you write a text block, like Ray was saying in the RTT group, they do that. And then you're pulling people towards you, right? So that's the flip side. Instead of you going out and hunting them, which you have to do, really. I recommend you do that because you're learning both sides. You can also then produce content. So if it's Jackie, for example, she could say, do you know the number one belief stopping small business owners from scaling to 100,000 a year? Right? Do you know what that is? Or would you like to know? Or, you know, make it curious, make people think, oh, wow, yeah, what is that? If they're a small business owner and if they're trying to scale to 100K, then they're going to click that video or they're going to read that text, right? So you're attracting now. And that's the flip side. So is what I highly encourage you to do is start doing both, because you might find that, hey, this like going into groups and adding value, striking up conversations, getting people on the phone, that's working really well for me. My content that I'm making and is not really attracting anyone. Then you might decide to do a bit more of the other one, but still just a little bit of that, just in case you start to get traction on it, right? Or it might be the other way around. So you just have to experiment. So in entrepreneurship, there's nothing guaranteed, right? You could go and learn, 20 different techniques, but then maybe 2 of them work. Then that's the one, those are the ones for you, right? Because people complain, they say, oh, this isn't working. Well, find the one that fits your personality, that you are really figuring out and is working well for you, and do that one, right? Because they all do work, but you just got to find out which ones are working better for you. So does that help you, Jackie, in any way?
Yeah, that is helpful, thank you. I've actually got a group program, that beta one, that I'm starting on Monday.
Great. Yeah.
But the way I got everyone in the end, it was people I knew, really. I did put up a post saying, I'd like people to look at my course and give me feedback on it. Uh-huh. And then several of them joined up on the back of it, which was rather good. Yeah. But they were all just really helpful. I put that on my personal profile, and that all came in that way. But now I need to, once this has gone through and I'm getting testimonials from them, then I need to start doing what you suggest. Yeah. That's the cat, excuse her.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, I can hear. Yeah. So that's exactly the right way to do it, is to do a beta program. And that's actually useful for everyone here. If you haven't got a beta program, then get one. So Jackie's got small business owners who have blocks around self-belief, money, and visibility. That's a good niche. That's specific enough, right? So you want that type of niche, right? So Jeanette here, women in their late 40s and 50s suffering from stress, anxiety, and insomnia. That's very good, right? That's specific. If you are if you're a woman and you're in your 40s and 50s and you are suffering from stress, anxiety, or insomnia, that's going to speak to you, right? So the language you use has to be specific to that specific niche, right? So like those examples I gave with Jackie, maybe for Jeanette, it could be, so are you a woman in her 40s or 50s and you just feel bombarded by stress from your husband? It could be from your kids, right? So we're going a little bit more narrow there, but you could be even more specific than that, right? Do you wake up and you feel like you didn't even go to bed, right? Are you a woman in her 40s and 50s and when you wake up in the morning, you feel like you haven't even slept, right? That's the sort of thing where it's obviously speaking to insomnia and stress. They're all interrelated. Obviously, you know that better than me. So you're going to get people who respond to that, right? So again, where could you find these people? There's women's groups in Facebook, right? There may even be women's groups for people 40 or above. I'm sure there are. There's pretty much sub niche of everything you could find. So that's something I really want to emphasize here. Imagine 15 years ago, 16 years ago, before Facebook and all of these other social media platforms came out. What would you do to get clients? What do we have to do as a business? It's really hard, right? You've got like magazines, you've got word of mouth and TV and radio. It's expensive, right? It's expensive to advertise and it's not very targeted. So it's like a shotgun approach where you're spending thousands of pounds to try and get a couple of people in, a few people to respond to that. Whereas now you've got Facebook, which is all targeted, like exactly to some of the most specific characteristics and features and our likes and everything. And it's a free tool. You've got the paid ads, which you can do, right? Which I wouldn't recommend if you're not versed in them in the beginning, because you can spend a lot of money and not get too far. I would recommend that organic route, which we've just talked about, like getting into groups, adding value, striking up conversations with people. And remember, you don't have to force the issue. I would go the other end of the spectrum, have like 4 or 5, 3 to 5, let's say, interactions, and then you can offer something. You could offer the free workshop or whatever it is you're doing by the second interaction, but you have to test that yourself, right? If you find, oh, look, every time I offer it, you know, after we've had like just a few back and forths, they all go for it, then start offering it early, right? If you find that it takes 5 or 6 to build a bit of a rapport and then say, I've got my free workshop, and then they go for that, then start doing that. So you want to test stuff, right? Maybe get a group of 10 and another group of 10, try the quick, like, hey, do you want to join this? And then try the slightly longer route of, hey, Jeanette, I noticed that you said you were struggling with your sleep. Well, you know, during the conversations we've had, well, actually, next week I'm offering a workshop where we're going to cover the fundamentals of deep rejuvenative sleep, right? And in this workshop, you're going to learn, and then maybe 2 or 3 bullet points on that, right? So you got to test yourself. I know personally, when people just reach out and say, they do like the first thing of like, hey, Sanjay, how you doing? I say, hey, yeah, back to them. And then they go, oh, by the way, I've got this free thing. It's like way too early, right? I just feel, no, right? It doesn't feel right to me. But if we have a little bit of a back and forth, maybe 2, 3, 4 messages, and then I say, by the way, you mentioned, you know, you're struggling with your sleep, and then you give them that. I say, hey, yeah, why not? Right? A lot of people then accept it. So you need to make it human, right? Don't make it like a bot. That's the key. Move away from that, like, just like trying to get numbers, and focus more on them as a human, and that you care for them and you want to have a proper interaction and relationship, not just get in my group so I can convert you into a client. Hey, Leanne. Yeah, exactly. Always warn people first without jumping into the sale. So you want to play a little bit of a slower game, and it will yield you a lot more in general. Okay, so let's see. I had a structure of how I was going to do this, and then we ended up just jumping into lots of different things specific to you, which I think is probably better for you, but you lot let me know. What do you have questions about, or would you like more clarification on anything from anyone?
I'd like to know, when posting on Facebook, should we just bombard everyone with hashtags? How do we get out there to a wider audience?
Okay, yeah, so you can post in those groups, right? So, but when you're posting, there's different types of posts. So like Ray said, there's a value post, right? Where you write value for like what you did and how you overcame the situation. Now, there's something to be wary about here is nowadays people are looking at those value posts and saying, oh, they're just trying to get clients, right? So you've got to be a little bit careful about the way you word it, and you've got to make it as genuine as possible. Don't even be thinking about clients or anything, thinking about like, how much can I be helping someone, right? So let's say yours was insomnia. You did a whole thing on insomnia, right? And you talk about the root of insomnia, maybe some of the psychological problems that cause insomnia, some techniques of how you overcame yours or other people overcame theirs, and you left it at that. You said, I would love to know whether these things work for you too. And if you want to know more about them, you can always send me a message, right? Something very gentle, right? Then try it, right? See how people respond. When you provide genuine value, like high value that people can implement immediately, then they tend to then consider you in a much higher light. And it's like you're building this goodwill, right? You're building goodwill. So if you do 2 or 3 of those, then people might actually see you as the go-to expert for insomnia or stress or whatever it is you're posting about. And then they start reaching out to you, right? So the key is to make these posts as valuable as possible. The hashtags and all of that, I mean, they may hit, I think that's more useful for Instagram in general. I think the best bet for you, Jenna, is to start making, value posts like that are just pure value. You're not necessarily having a big call to action or any call to action at the end. They can just like it and comment. And then when they like and comment, you comment back to them always, right? Because what happens is by you commenting back, you're adding an extra comment in. So then the Facebook algorithm, it says, oh, this is really good because there's more and more comments. So every single person who comments to you, comment back and say, oh, thank you so much. I'm glad you found use of that. And then someone else, you'll do the same and do the same. Then is what happens. You can get like 50, 60 comments, and then the algorithm keeps you more top of mind. Now, if you don't get that in the beginning, is what happens is your post can just disappear. The algorithm's like, oh, no one likes this. And they just literally cut it from everyone's site. So they have so much power. So you want to be, I would go with that. Do more of that, like more value posts. Now you could do engagement posts, which are like questions. You guys are gonna hear like a vendor. I'm in Mexico, right? So you'll hear some probably some funny sounds going by. So the other thing is engagement, right? You can have these engagement questions. So it's like, what's been the #1 tip you have found to help with your insomnia, right? Now, is what would happen is some people will have great value. So you're giving the opportunity for other people to add value, but then you might also find some people saying, oh, wow, that's really cool. Like, I didn't know you could do that. And then you're starting to find potential people who you can speak to and help with insomnia. Okay. Right? So my advice to you is go with those types of posts, engagement posts, value posts, and see how they work for you and try them in different groups. Don't post the same post to 5 different groups on the same day, because what you'll see is that people are in those groups as well, and they'll see, oh, she's just posted the same thing in every group, and it doesn't feel good to us. So you want to create some sort of like spreadsheet where you say, oh, I posted that like a month ago, now I can post that in the other group, right? So you're rotating it. Okay. Right, and the more you do that, again, like clock in, do that for half an hour a day, every day, you'll start to get traction. The other thing is don't expect the results to come in like the first week. You just get into the habit of doing this. Try a month, right, of posting in different groups, like changing the cycle around so you're not always posting the same thing, engaging with people, trying to get in conversations, and just see it as a pure experiment. And don't put your pressure on yourself to do anything. Just make that the exact goal and test it for 1 month. And if you find that it works for you, which it works for pretty much most people, you will have just found a way to get clients for free instead of spending on ads, right? So it's worth the investment of figuring this out. It won't always be the smooth path. You'll find that you're making some, maybe let's say mini mistakes, and you say, okay, I should probably be changing my tone, or I should probably be waiting a little bit before offering them the free workshop. But you will figure it out with action every time. It's just your brain will then say, okay, let's tweak this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah, exactly, Ray. Consistency is key. So what about you, Claire or Leanne? Have you got any, what's your niche, who you're targeting?
Hi, it's Leanne here. Sorry, I was late. I completely lost track of time. Good to be here. Thanks, folks. Really interesting. And actually, my niche is sleep and insomnia. So it's been, the last 5-10 minutes have been great. Thank you. But what I would like to just check, you might have already covered this. I'm a bit confused. Some people have said to me it doesn't matter. Others have said at least 4 times a day. And what I mean by that is, how much should you post per day? and doesn't make a difference. So like one engagement post, one value post, one call to action post, one maybe personal post. So you're not just spamming everyone with your business, which makes sense. But I'm like, someone's like, oh, it doesn't matter. Someone else is like, oh, it really does matter. I'm like, does it not?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it depends on your audience.
Okay.
Right. So I personally, if I see someone's put, like, if they're just taking up my feed, it puts me off a bit. Right. So it depends on your audience, like how sophisticated they are. Now, for people who are young, like teenagers, they probably love that stuff, right? Because it's just more of an excuse to be addicted to it and continue to look at it more. But for your audience, you may decide, no, look, one quality post per day. It doesn't even have to be every day, but it has to be consistent, right? Some people say, look, minimum once per day, never less. Actually, I found that if you put out like 2 or 3 good quality, high quality videos or text, whatever you're using per week, and they when that comes up, they get major value, they click on it and go, oh, wow, that really helped. They don't care whether it's every day. They care about how much you're helping them. So I found like even just a couple of videos a week, but really like you actually plan it out and you give them something of high value that they can use, then they'll come to trust you and say, look, she is the person for sleep. Now, you know, if maybe 3 months, sometimes 6 months later, they've been watching your content and they say, look, I find like, it might be one video or something that you said. And they say, I really just need to deal with this now. I've been watching her for 6 months, and you will be the person in their mind. They won't be thinking of anyone else because you've invested in them by consistently showing up and adding value to them. And it's not always easy, by the way. Like, I mean, to be consistent on social media is challenging. So if you're going to really say once per day, I mean, that's work. That is a lot of work. 4 times per day. Yeah. I mean, that's tons of work. Whereas I personally don't like seeing the same face and content like up in my face all the time. I would rather see maybe a good, like YouTube, for example, one good video a week where it's like really useful. I'm clicking on that. And it's actually funny because I feel more excitement for that person because I haven't seen them in a week. I haven't heard from them. So when I do see the video come up, I'm like, yeah, I want to listen to it. Whereas the people who are always posting, you get a bit numb to it. So,
yeah, I agree. Actually, that's what I felt. So that's why I've felt kind of a bit stuck about what to listen to. So it's nice to hear another view, like yourself. And yeah, I agree with that. If I see too much of something, you do turn off.
Yeah,
I find anyway. Yeah,
because it becomes normal, right? And then they start to not listen like they should be listening because that you can really help them. So forget about forget about the frequency and focus more on the quality.
Yeah.
Right? And make everything you give them just like, wow, I didn't know that, or that's really useful. I can use that right now. And then every so often, let's say every 3 or 4 videos, you can say, oh, and by the way, I have my free event right at the end of the month. And what you will be learning is how to sleep within 15 minutes of hitting the pillow, how to prep before sleeping, so something really high value that you're not necessarily giving away in the videos, right? Or however you're putting the content out. You want the workshop to be like, you know, the real super high value thing, right? And the content you're giving out is high value, but the thing at the end is just irresistible. It's like, oh wow, I have to join that. It's free as well, right? But that free thing at the end will be a lead into your program, your offer.
Yeah.
Right. So that thing at the end could be one module from your offer, going a deep dive into that, into it. So it's just one of those modules, or it could be a little skimming of each component in the full offer, right? I like the one module thing because you can go deep into something, give them massive value, and then they're like, wow, that was really good. Like, how can I learn more? And you say, well, it's funny you say that because that was just one out of, or that was like the first bit of the first module, and there's 6 of these modules, and you're going to learn and you describe to them.
Okay, cool. Can I just ask one more question? If I was to do that, then would it be okay to just ask the audience basically what they want?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, which is exactly what I just did with you guys, right? I just asked you what you want instead of assuming. So there's certain times you can do that. It depends on the context, right? So if you are just a brand new audience, right, you can say like, what do you want? Sometimes they don't actually know what they want, right? It depends how far along the journey they are. So in that case, you're the leader, you're the expert. You can then start to put out some concepts, and then as they learn more about it and what you do, then they'll start to ask better questions. So actually your content, your video content, can be ways of educating them. I highly recommend you use the content you put out on Facebook or in other groups as a way to educate people, and eventually they'll get to a level where they have enough, because they may know nothing about sleep, right? They may not know that there's such a thing as sleep cycles. They may not know anything about how your brain works, and melatonin and serotonin, all of these things. It may be completely foreign to them, right? Whereas if you make a video or something on text and you explain to them how the brain works and why you go to sleep and why sometimes you're unable to go to sleep, then they're like, oh, really? Okay, I had no idea about that. Then in your program, you can talk about something about regulating your melatonin levels. And now that they've been educated enough, they'll be able to actually relate to that. So they'll say, oh, wow, you can actually do that, right? Because now they know what it actually does in the first place. So you want to be using your content you're putting out there to educate your audience and get them to a point where now they've invested in you, because you've been like their teacher or coach or educator for however many months. And now they're like, oh, she's taught me all of that, and now she has a program which can help me solve like my ultimate problem. They're going to go with you as opposed to someone who they just don't know about or had no contact with.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've started doing that already. So each day, or not every day, but nearly every day, probably 6 out of 7 days of the week, I do a little post, like a sleep tip. And everyone's got quite used to waiting for this sleep tip to pop up now, because people have messaged me saying, oh, I like your sleep tip. What, you can have another one tomorrow. You can do it every day. And then if I miss a day, people say, where was your sleep tip? Or something like that. So that's quite cool, but people are noticing that. And then I've done a couple of lives, mainly on a Friday, which is, I think, what I'm going to stick to, like live at 5 on a Friday going forward. So it's something that people remember, which seems to so far be working quite well. So
that's really good. So with the sleep tip, you could say, hey, and you don't have to do this every sleep tip, but after like maybe a whole week of sleep tips, you could say, hey, and if you liked those sleep tips, I'm doing a whole workshop on, and then some specific things maybe related to those sleep tips.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if you do the Facebook Live at 5 on a Friday, you can put out, you can make like a little thing in Canva, right? Of like, Leanne live at 5 on Friday to talk about optimizing your sleep, right? And you can have that, and you can post that maybe on Wednesday or on Thursday to get people like aware that it's going to happen, and then they book it in advance.
Yeah, I'm still learning with Canva, so I didn't know about that. So I'll have a little play about that tomorrow. That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, Canva's great. It's a great free tool. You can make all your graphics and everything. We're so blessed, right? This is the other thing. We live in a world where pretty much everything you need to have a thriving business, on a fairly just sort of simple level, is free, right? So you can jump on a call like this and have that call free, Zoom, right? You can, with one-on-one, it's free. You can send a PayPal link, free, right? Obviously they charge you commission and all of that, but to actually have the thing in the first place, it's free. You can go on Facebook and find all your clients for free, right? It's literally the best time to ever do anything like this. We don't have too many outgoing costs. If you want to scale to, have group coaching programs and webinars and things like that, then there's other tools you can use. Actually, we'll talk about one of them today that you, if that's something that you think you want to do in the future, like group coaching?
I personally, that's definitely what I'm working towards, definitely. So I love the one-to-one work, but I'd like to do more kind of teaching and online trainings, groups, what have you, and then reduce down the one-to-one.
Yeah, so you might be interested. We're going to talk about a tool that you can use for that. So with a business, is what happens in the beginning is you have one-on-one coaching, and obviously you only have a certain amount of time, right? And then that time gets filled up. You're like, well, I can't really scale. I can't really go beyond this certain level. So that's when you want to be talking about group coaching, and then eventually a digital product, right? Where you can do that teaching. Now you can't really go, this is a mistake people make. They try and jump to the digital product and no one buys it. And is what's happened is they haven't been through the proper process of doing one-on-one, finding out what people's problems are, helping them with that, trying different solutions and figuring out what's the best, then teaching that to many people, right? And you can earn a lot more money, and you can do multiple groups per week if that's something you wanted to do. So your money can grow really quickly, right? But then once you've honed that in and you've done lots of group coaching as well, you've got a lot of information about what's working, what's not working. That's an indication of what would work in a digital product that you sell to a lot more than would be in a group coaching program. So you need to do it step by step. But when you do get to that sort of level, I haven't done digital products yet. So I've done group, but not digital, right? So when you do get to that level, that's when you could be looking at 100,000, 1 million, 100,000. You can get over 100,000 with group coaching. It's very hard to do that with one-on-one unless you're charging a lot, which you could do. Some people charge 100,000 for one client, right, a year. But in general, if you want to get to over 100,000, you want the group coaching. And if you want to get to million a year, then you're looking at digital products and retreats and things like this, right?
That's exactly what I'm looking at wanting to do.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. So that's the path, right? Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, Sanjay, I just want to jump in. Can you, that's amazing, beneficial. Could you try and link that into, if it was just RTT somehow?
What do you mean?
With regards to group coaching or something, because obviously...
how would you do it if it was RTT?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I guess if it was RTT, you would have, so I know Marissa does these audios, right? That she can specifically tailor to you, or she specifically tailors it to a theme, right? So let's say it's like abundance for money, or whether it's health or whatever. She has a theme, right? So because of your niche, you could have, let's say in Leanne's case, she could have a whole RTT about resolving insomnia, right? And then people listening to it could benefit from that because it's specifically for that thing, but anyone listening to it could benefit, right? And then maybe exercises to do, breakout rooms. So, to talk about that, maybe like something like a timeline. You're the expert, not me, but maybe like something like a timeline of previous traumas, things like that, right? Where you could together as a group, or you could outline your traumas. And then if you wanted to share in like a breakout room, you could talk about those things and get more awareness as to what's been causing your insomnia in the first place. And then do the RTT audio at the end, right? You could either do it live or you could have a pre-recorded version. At the end of the day, as long as you get them results, it doesn't matter, right? Because a group format is what it does, is it allows people to do it for cheaper, right? Because to access you one-on-one is obviously going to be more expensive than it is to join a group. And that's the benefit to them, is it includes people who can't afford the one-on-one, right? And as you get more people in the group, you can actually hike up your one-on-one prices quite significantly. You can make that okay, if you don't want to join the group, you can join me, but you pay a significant premium for that. And that works pretty well, because then you're being really rewarded for your time. Right, a group, you can just have more people join. Obviously, there'll be certain like cap or limit let's say it's like 15 and you don't want to go over 15 because you can't give them enough attention, then you can have that up to 15. But one-on-one, when they do decide that, and you will find people who can afford that, right? The more you build your business, you'll find people who only work one-on-one. There's people who would never join a group, right? They just like, no, I work one-on-one with people because they can afford it and they want the attention, right? Then you're charging 2.5 times, 3 times, with 5 times sometimes the price of the group, could be even more, right? So that's where the scale comes in, right? So the more you build your business, you get more leverage. You're able to charge higher prices because there's more people coming in, right? And you can then have lower tiers like a group coaching program and eventually maybe a digital product. Does that answer the question? I'm not sure it did, Ray. Okay.
No, really great. Wonderful. I kind of put you on the spot there a little bit, but no, yeah, sorry. No, it really did. It just gives the essence so that people that, you know, this is recorded and I'm going to be sending it to people that have asked for it. So that some people maybe aren't at a level where they want to coach or anything like that. They can kind of think of it in just an RTT basis. That's really, really great, Sanjay.
Yeah, and remember to if you're not sure it works, then test it for free. Right? If you're like, I'm not sure this is going to work, then you say, look, I'm looking for an 80% reduction, 70%, 90%, whatever you want to choose. You say, look, guys, I'm running a group coaching program, just the first version, right? So because it's my beta version, I'm going to offer this at 90%, 80%, 70% off, whatever you decide, or it's completely free. I'm looking for 10 volunteers. Right, then you would go and do the program, you'd design it out, do it, and you would find the flaws. And part of the agreement is, look, guys, I'm letting you do this for this amount off or free. And part of that is you have to give me feedback to say, look, what could we do better? What did you like? What did you not like so much? And everyone obviously is happy to do that. I've never had someone say, no, I'm not going to give you feedback. They'll always give you feedback, especially if they're getting it for a bargain. So you can do that, right? This is the thing. If you're worried about going straight to paid, test it, which you should really do anyway, because you want to know you get your clients' results. Test it, find out what they need, find out what's working, do more of what's working, take out what's not working and add in other things. Right, and you can test it. Usually by 3rd, 4th, 5th iteration, you're getting to something really good. Right, all the products, all these coaching programs you see that people sell for a lot of money, they are like 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th version in. Right, they were pretty average at the beginning, and they worked their way up by getting the feedback, adding in new things, taking out the things that aren't working. Okay, so Claire, have you got any questions specific to your situation that you'd like to ask?
This has been really useful. Thank you very much. My business is quite new at the moment, so I'm still trying to figure out like my niche and that kind of thing. But also, I was just wondering about websites. We haven't really talked on websites yet. It's just kind of like how useful are they? How much effort should we be putting in, and that kind of thing? Yeah.
So you can run a whole business without a website. You can run a coaching business, or you don't necessarily need it. Now, if you do make a website, don't expect people to really hang around there too long. They might check you out, right? Which, some people do. They'll go onto your website, see what you do. So it's an okay thing to have, where it can be very useful if you're getting loads of traffic to it. And in the beginning, I wouldn't worry about it, right? To be completely honest with you, I would just, you said you're starting, so just do as much free as possible. Free everything, free sessions, free workshops, free. Getting to know people, right? That if you're offering something for free, they don't need okay, you're very welcome, Mariola. No problem at all. Watch the replay, because we're going to offer a tool that might be useful to you. It may not, it might be, but check it out. If you're looking to do group coaching, things like that, and scale up the business, it's a very useful tool. Okay, no problem though. Thank you for coming and thank you for your questions. So yeah, I would say that, Claire, do free, right? Find out, because your niche, you can figure out by speaking to people, right? When you find out that, like, let's say you speak to 10 people and 5 of them have the same problem, and that's something you can help with, then it becomes a bit of an easy one to say, I'm going to test this out. With our niche, you can change any time. I've changed my niche multiple times, like 4 or 5 times. It's not, you don't have to worry about testing one out. You can test it out and say, actually, you know, that one wasn't the right one. It's unlikely you would land necessarily on your perfect niche the first time. It does usually take a few goes. I would just, get out there, coach as many people as possible. Say, look, I'm doing free coaching sessions. You can pick a theme if you want. Would you have an idea of a theme you would like to pick?
I seem to be attracting people with anxiety. So
yeah, that's interesting, right? So we've got 3 people here who are dealing with anxiety. Now that's a sign of the times, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of demand for that, and yeah, that's a good sign. So people will say, oh no, someone else is doing that. Oh, someone else is doing it. There's a ton of people doing what you're doing. But when there are a ton of people doing what you're doing, that's a great sign you've chosen the right thing, because it means there's demand for it. Mm-hmm. Right? If you pick something and you know no one else is doing that, that's usually a major red flag, right? So if you're comfortable with anxiety, test it out, right? See who you can connect with, do some sessions with them, find out what they're anxious about. You might find that people are anxious about being furloughed, right? Now that is super niche to the time. So maybe you could create a niche of like how to, or I'm an anxiety coach for furloughed workers.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I do. I've got I've got about 6 different things that I do. So, but one of those is employability workshops as well. So it's just kind of like people being anxious about. It can be anything from either losing their job and then knowing what to do next, or they are out of work and they don't know what to do. So it's just kind of, yeah, I've got a few things that seem to kind of like link in with each other like that. So
that's great, right? So when you have things that link in like that, combine them, because remember, then you're offering something that other people won't necessarily be able to offer. There'll be people who can maybe help with anxiety, but they might not be able to help with the anxiety part of it.
Yeah.
Right. So Jackie has to go as well. Okay, no problem. Okay, great. Okay, so Jackie, watch the end. We'll get to that in a minute now. And you could just watch the replay because we're recording it, and let us know what you think, right? If it's suitable for you, great. If it's not, no problem at all. You guys can all reach out to me as well, by the way. Ray will give you my email if you've got questions and things like that.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, I did start having a look at the materials that went with it, and it looked very interesting. So I shall do that.
Great. Yeah, wonderful. So thank you for coming in.
Sorry, I've got to go now, but they're all shouting for me to go for a second.
Yeah, go for it.
That was really helpful. Thank you. Bye.
You're very welcome. Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah, so that's what I would say for you, Claire, at this stage. Do testing, get out there, find out what's useful to people, and then form a niche and just go with it. Maybe the employability and the anxiety could be the one that makes you very well off, right? You never know. You got to test it. Any other questions from your side?
I don't think so at the moment.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So
it does sorry, actually, just one's just sprung in. The stuff that you're saying about doing on Facebook, does that translate over to, like, say, LinkedIn as well? Because I do quite a bit more on LinkedIn than I do on Facebook. But
yeah, so the difference with LinkedIn is the people aren't so active, and there's not so many of them.
Yeah.
Right. So the engagement is really bad generally on a LinkedIn group, even with massive ones. People just don't, because the thing about LinkedIn is people don't use it like they use Facebook. People log on to LinkedIn and they won't go on for like a month. Some people, right? So it's useful in a different way. If you want to use LinkedIn, you want to go for putting out content so people can see like on your feed, but you also want to do direct outreach. And with that,
I've been doing that. When people like my posts and things like that, then I've been directly contacting them. Hey, how's it, how are you? How's it going? And connecting with them and that kind of thing. So
yeah, totally. So that's good. So with the thing with LinkedIn, you can be a little bit more like a bit colder about it and just send out like 1,000 messages to different people and see which ones hit. Right, because it's less sophisticated in that regard. It doesn't have the same level of algorithm as Facebook, and it's not. People go on Facebook to be friends, right? They're not really looking to buy stuff from Facebook. They're looking to see what their friends are up to. So you don't want to go in and say, hey, do you want to buy this? LinkedIn is business. So if you have a solution to their problem, you can be a bit more like direct, not completely like, hey, do you want to buy this? But you can be more like, hey, Claire, I work with people who are looking for new opportunities and are currently dealing with anxiety around the job market. Would this interest you?
Yeah, I think it really depends on what's being said, because I'm getting bombarded with people who, at the moment, who want to link in with me, and then once they link in, they just suddenly just like, I do this, and it's just kind of like, whoa, you haven't even asked me if I even want that, kind of thing. So I definitely wouldn't do that to other people. It's just kind of, it's like you say about the, just having a couple of conversations first and then move on. And, it's just kind of, yeah,
exactly. So
treating people like humans, isn't it? It's just like,
exactly.
not just cash buckets or whatever, so
exactly. You want to be treated like a human. And so it is what I would do if I were you, is map out the chain of messages, right? So write 4 messages, and then the 4th one or the 5th one, whatever you feel comfortable with, would be the one where you then say, this is what I do, would this interest you? But be aware that people, because it's such a much longer process on LinkedIn, so you want to make it shorter than you would on Facebook. Facebook, you could have like 8 interactions before saying that, but because that could happen over a week, whereas on LinkedIn, that might take like 3 months to get to that point, and if they even reply anyway. So you want to be like constantly figuring out, okay, maybe I should shorten this, maybe I should lengthen this, and play with it and test and see what works for you.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So, so for people who are looking to scale to have group coaching and beyond, right, digital products, there's a new tool out at the moment, and Ray has bought it, I've bought it, and I've actually bought 2 of them, and Kevin's bought it, and it's called Groove. And did you buy it as well, Claire? Oh, she's bought it as well. Okay. So it's a great tool, because it's what it's going to do is it's going to be able to save you, if you're in entrepreneurship for even a few years, it will save you, could be like 20,000, 30,000 pounds more, right? And over a lifetime, it could be hundreds of thousands of pounds. So this is one of those things that comes around like very rarely. And we have an opportunity now. We're in September and it's about to launch officially in October. So when it does launch, it's going to go up to like $300 a month, and it's still worth it for that, but you'll be able to get your webinar, you'll be able to get a membership program, you'll be able to get your email, so you can send up to 25,000 subscribers. You'll get a Groove desk thing where it's like it says, hello, how can we help you? You'll get, what else, Ray? You'll get the calendar, so you don't have to pay for Calendly anymore. In fact, so we're going to show this to you. Obviously, you have to decide whether this is right for you, right? If it is right for you, this is a great opportunity. If you don't think you're going to do this group coaching and other things, then that's no problem at all. Let me share. Yeah, I have that actually. So I'm going to share this.
I've just, did you see what I put up there, Sanjay, to show
you? And then let's see if people can. Yeah, the only problem with that is they have to open it. Let's see. Can you see my screen?
No. Oh.
Can you see it?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So this is what you're getting, right? It's normally when you pay for these things. So ClickFunnels is what it is it's a Kevin's going to do a little show you what this is all about, but is what happens is people, you know, when you click on a landing page and it has like an offer, and then you read about the offer and then you click and then it goes through to like a checkout page. Those are built with these things called funnels, right? These things called ClickFunnels. That's usually $3,500 a year. And we have this thing called Groove Pages, which is in this software that you can build all of these, right? So you wouldn't have to spend all that money. The same with Groove Sell. So is what you can do is you can link up your coaching services, if you want like an RTT product or any sort of product, right, where they can just click and download it. It could be a meditation, could be an audio, could be a workshop, pre-recorded series. Then they would pay for it. They'll click on it, they'll buy it, it'll get automatically sent to them, and they'll pay for it with this thing called Groove Sell. And that will be linked to your bank account. So then the money will then go to your account from there. They have affiliate services. So if you want to promote other people's products, you can do that. The mail is up to 25,000 subscribers. So this, usually if you're going to pay for that many subscribers, obviously you might say, well, I don't have even close to that now. It doesn't matter, because what it does is it gives you the flexibility to grow a huge audience, right? And this is where you can really get up to that sort of million a year level. And that usually would be $3,000 a year just to have something like that. And that's included in there. There's a membership platform. So you can have your own membership, right? You can have people come in and they may pay you, let's say like £50 or £100 a month, depending on whatever you're pricing it at. And if you have, let's say 30 members, right, that's good money, right? You've got that as your membership, and you can still do your one-on-one coaching. Now, the good thing about membership is you can just grow and grow and grow it. So some people have memberships of like 1,000 people, right? You can keep adding members in, and the difference is it's not going to take up more of your time. It's just going to add more revenue, and you'll still do the same content because you're just getting it out to more people. So that thing is usually like $2,000 a month. Then you've got the video. So people put their stuff on YouTube, but the problem is with YouTube is it's not protected. Even if you put the unlisted, people can steal your stuff. With Vimeo, it's different, it's protected, right? But you have to pay for that. Now they're going to include their own Groove video in there. You've got a cart. So if any of you guys want to sell physical products, right? I don't yet, but I might do with this. I might play with it. So it could be something like, if it's sleep, you could be selling sleep equipment, right? Or, it could be pillows that are properly designed for optimal sleep. It could be any of these things, that you use to, maybe essential oils, right? Things that people use to help get to sleep. So you can start including physical products in. Now, we haven't had this. Usually you have to pay $1,000 a year to get something like that, to do this drop shipping. This is included in it, right? So I might also play around with this and see if there's any physical things I can add in. Then we've got the webinar series. So webinar software is expensive, right? I've bought different ones, and you can be spending up to at least $1,500 a year on these. But this has Groove Webinars Live. So, if you've got a workshop coming up, something like that, you can just do the webinar live, or you can pre-record the webinar, and then they would maybe click on your link, right, which would be in your Groove page at the top, and then they would get an automated workshop or webinar, right, that you can pre-record. So you don't have to be there every time, right, which is good for people who have less time. In the beginning, you want to do a few of these lives to figure out, how to optimize it and make it really powerful. And then you've got a streaming service, so you can do your lives and your streaming, if you're doing like some sort of education piece. You got a desk, which is basically like the pop-up, which says, hey, how are you doing? How can I help you? It's like very professional. You've got the calendar, so you're not going to have to pay for a calendar anymore. So you can book all your coaching appointments or RTT appointments there. You've got a survey tool. You can send out surveys to find out what your audience wants. And you've got the proof thing, which is to show like Ray bought this. Do you know that thing that pops up and says Ray from London bought, right? So it shows that you're genuine. It adds more authority to you. So usually these things obviously cost 17.5K minimum really for all these tools a year. At the moment they're doing this launch, which is almost over, and you'll get the whole thing for 1,400. And there's payment plans on that as well. This is in dollars. So that would be about 1,100-ish pounds, right? And you'll never have to pay for these tools again. Now, the only reason they're giving you such a bargain is because it's in beta, and some of these tools are already, like the pages, the sales, the mails just come out, the memberships just come out, and they're still building these, right? But there's a huge community and we're all helping each other. Now there's payment plans here as well for like, you can pay in like 4 installments or 8 or even 12, I think, to make it much cheaper. And what we're doing is, between us three, Ray, myself, and Kevin, is we're saying to you guys, if you buy this, I'm going to add in from my side a high performance business coaching session. So it will be about developing a strategy for your business. So that's usually worth $250, right? Not pounds, but $250. Ray is going to add in his program, which he's going to explain in a minute, which is how to be a professional on camera, just like a professional actor, right? So how to produce really great content that's going to allow you to really capture your audience. And also Kevin's going to give you a program how to use this. So Ray, do you want to just jump in and explain a bit about your bit? I'm literally just going to pop to the bathroom because I haven't had a break, and I'll be back in 2 seconds.
No worries, Sanjay. You've done super well. You've been speaking for a long time. Good man. Yeah, just to kind of quickly explain the product that I'm going to be putting out there. It's a workshop, and it's how to be on camera like a professional actor. So through that, you're going to learn how to all the tools. And you'll get links and ideas of which different bits of hardware and software to get, and we'll be practicing those throughout the week. Then the next week we'll look at the setup. So like this setup that I've got now is kind of a decision. I've specifically decided to have it like this. My room isn't normally like this. So it's specifically designed. And then we'll get into the formalities of actually the what you're filming, and the structure of how you're filming it. And then kind of the most important bits is that kind of internal, external, you know, being or perceiving your visual representation of being very happy and calm when really underneath you're like this, and just kind of going it, and just kind of how to kind of get through that with lots of tips and tricks from an actor, what I've done for years. So yeah, that's what you're going to be getting from me. Very kind of how to be confident and competent in front of the camera, so that it becomes less of a hassle and it doesn't feel too strenuous posting videos each week. And Kevin, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, sure. Looking like you had a stroke on Facebook Live is not great. Yeah, I am tech savvy to a great extent. And so I have actually used Groove to build already 8 pages. And what I'm offering is I will build your first landing page and perhaps even help you get a product to sell. In other words, if you have a course like Ray is developing, I can help you get that set up in Groove. But I can build you a landing page up to 5 hours. I can't do more than 5 hours, but that's valued at $625. So I think it's really helpful and useful to getting you going with Groove, because I find that a lot of people want the tools, and the great thing about Groove is they're integrated. It's all in one place, and again, you're not paying for them after this first price. But I also find a lot of people struggle with getting the ball rolling with actually getting a page up. One great thing about Groove, and I can show you that if you'd like, whenever you want me to do that, Sanjay, but they have templates that are ready built for what we're doing for coaching online or any kind of online business. And so, but my offer is I'll help you get your first page up and running.
Yeah, that's great. And so your Ray's program, right, of how to be on camera like a professional actor is going to be once you've built it. I mean, you're building it in this, but you're going to be selling that for a lot, right? What's the price you put on it?
Well, my original price is going to be $399. So,
yeah.
Will it stay at that? I don't know. Like, this is going to be the initial kind of, I guess, startup of it. And I think that's what's making me, just to kind of give an insight, because I know Claire, Leanne, Janet, this is pushing me forward to create membership sites, to create kind of courses that I can put on my Groove. Like, this is why I'm doing this as well. It's making me take action. All of us, we have to take action. We have to kind of put ourselves on the edge of our comfort zone so that we strive forward. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Great. Yeah. And Kevin, how much your funnel service to get them up and running is priced at?
Yeah, $625.
Dollars, yeah.
I'm obviously not Brit.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's in terms of, this is all if you decide to buy the Groove, right? So this would all be chucked in. So you're getting Kevin's program of helping you set up the funnel, and you're going to get my business growth, a high performance session, and you're also going to get Ray's program, and you're going to get the tool, right? So the tool is really in itself is worth that, because you're not going to have to spend money on these things ever again. And that, so all of that will be chucked in. Kevin, do you want to give them a little tour of what it looks like?
Yeah, I can share my screen here and make sure I find the right one. I have too many screens open. There we go. So while I'm doing this, it really would be helpful to me too. What is helpful for you to say? So I'm just going to kind of do a little overview, and you can tell me, what you're wondering. So basically, when you come into Groove, over here on the left, you have all of these options under Groove funnels, and this is what is active right now. Again, still in beta, so they're updating it, and I've only been using Groove. Sanjay, do you remember when you presented it to us? It's been
Maybe
a month.
Yeah, about 6 weeks or something. Right?
I've only been using it for that amount of time, and they have the improvements are coming fast and coming very well. So Groove Pages is where you would build a website, and so these are the sites that I've built out over the last 6 weeks, right? So I'll give you let's just do this. What's the best one to show you? I'm going to show you a funnel that I built to sell an online class I'm launching in.
Sorry, quick question.
Yes.
Is this your website? So this is kind of like, so you've got a domain name with this
yes,
website.
yeah. So I actually have, okay, so if we want to do that, we can go over here, for example, and do this.
Because it's kind of like, I'm just kind of like checking, because I've already got a couple of domains that I'll be bringing over. So yeah,
you can post this right to your domain. It's very, very simple. Just a couple of little back end domain name stuff you have to do. That's not the best one. Let's do 4 views. So this is 4views.nextcoaches.com.
Sorry, one very quick question. So bringing so like I said, I've already got domains with another provider at the moment, and then what I do is just bring that over. I can stop with them and bring it all onto this, isn't it? That's what I can do.
So what you'll do is you'll stop having your hosting there, and your page will be hosted in Groove. And this is interesting.
Brilliant.
They are using technology. Their sites are incredibly fast to load. So I have a domain called nextcoaches.com. That's my coaching business. And I haven't rebuilt the whole site. I've just been building these little pieces, but so you can actually have it in both places until you get it all moved over. But this is a site that I built. I gotta minimize you guys so I can see everything. So this is a site that I built to get people to download what's called a lead magnet, right? So this is 4 steps to help you with arguments, stop arguments in their tracks. So people come here, they see a little video of me explaining it, and if they click on this, they get the place to enter their email, and this is all customizable. Their email and their name, and then when they click on submit for download, they go to the thank you page, which obviously I have an editing issue there. So they can click this and they'll download the file. But here I added an upsell, which is an invitation. This obviously needs some work. I'm glad I'm showing this to you guys. An invitation to buy the course at $29. It's going to be $129 when it's released. So that is a funnel that I built, and I'm selling that through Groove. So Groove is everything about that is on Groove, including the site and the sales. So let me go back here.
Yeah, so let me just comment on that while you're loading that, Kevin. Yeah, so you can see, like, obviously all of that stuff's customizable, right? The colors, the images, like you can have whatever you want, and they give you a lot of templates to set you on your way, so you can just edit the different colors and change out whatever you need to change. So the advantage of having a tool like this is you can get people in to then sign up for your thing, like Kevin just showed you, and then maybe you've got a physical product, or maybe you've got a digital product or a masterclass or something like that you want to sell for, like, you know, £30 or whatever price you feel is appropriate. And then, so this is a way of starting to make money passively without having to work, right? Without having to actually be there and commit your time. So when you add in these components into your business, you can start making revenue from all sorts of different angles. And this is where you can start to scale over 100,000 and up to that million point, because you're not relying on just one source, and obviously your time's finite. Then once you get enough people in, you can start to build a bit of a team. It could be VAs, it can be just other people that you connect and start to run this stuff for you, right? You can even get them to start running parts of your group coaching as well. So having a tool like this, it gives you the capability and the flexibility to take it in the direction you want without having to pay crazy monthly fees. Because if you bought all of those tools, you'll be paying like thousands of pounds a month every month, right? Which is really difficult for people just
also
starting.
Sanjay, on top of that, because that's what I've done, I have found ways to get things for free or for very low. So, you know, you don't have to pay that top price if you can figure out ways to work around all of the links. But because I'm techie enough, I've found all these. So I've cobbled together about 7 different systems so that it's not costing me that much. It's still costing me about $1,000 a year. And this is going to take care of all that cobbling, and it's all integrated in one. So you're not having to have that technical knowledge. So I just pulled this up. This is just one of the templates. So, you know, you can just change the image to whatever you want it to be. You can change the colors. You can change how this looks. You can change your logo. And, you know, all of a sudden you have a web page that says, you know, if you're posting on Facebook and you're getting some interest, you can say, hey, if you want more information, go here, send them to your website, and they can actually, you can link scheduling to it, which is part of Groove as well. So I don't want to dwell on anything too long. So if you have more questions, feel free. So Groove Pages is where you set up your pages. Groove Sell is where you can set up your funnels. And so for me, I have a funnel. This is my first digital class, and this is where you set it all up. What's amazing is once you have a product, so let's say Ray gets his course going and it's $3.99, and it starts to really sell. If he sets it up in Groove, and part of Groove Sell, you can go into, I got to keep minimizing my screen here so I can see all my page. Let me do this. There we go. You can go into this, manage the products, manage the promotion tools, and you can actually create a way for people to be an affiliate. And it's so simple. Once you have everything set up, you go to affiliates, you activate actually it's active right now. So if you guys want to go start pre-selling my course, you can be an affiliate. And what that means is Ray can make his program available for affiliates. And essentially, if I get a link, I can go start selling his program using that link. And then Ray doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to keep track of who's sold it. He doesn't have to keep track of who's owed what money. It happens through Groove, which is, once I tested it out and found out how it works, I just find it incredible. And I will be making my course an affiliate course, partially because in my coaching, so here's what I see can happen. In my coaching, I'm working with men who are struggling to be better husbands. Okay, so in some ways I'm dealing with a lot of brain issues and trauma issues and those kinds of things and how that's affecting them. So if Ray or one of you has a course that I don't go into sort of the healing or the past trauma. That's not. I'm going to send them to somebody for that. So if you had a course that you set up and you were selling, even if it wasn't a course, if it was a coaching package, if I could be an affiliate, I could sell that, send them to you, and I'm getting a little piece of what the sale, but you're getting more customers. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's the amazing thing about Groove Sell.
Yeah, so you can do partnerships, right? So
yes,
like Kevin said, let's say, for example, you find that someone else, if you're doing sleep, like Leanne, and saying, well, someone else is doing physical fitness,
yes, yep,
right? You could then send that person to them, take 20% or whatever you agree, and
yep,
you're making another source of passive income by funneling them through. When we say funnel, we basically mean just going through a series of steps, right? So you can make money through partnerships as well. It's not just your own business. This is another way to really scale, is to do partnerships where you're just taking a little cut just for moving them along. Now, you're not going to recommend them to someone whose offer doesn't fit with yours. They have to be aligned. But when they do work well together, they're just the most powerful things, because the client, they go through too and they say, oh my gosh, you've just transformed my life, and you haven't had to do all the work, right? You've got someone else to do part of it.
Just wanted to jump in there as well. Just to acknowledge, I'm at the beginning of this as well. So I'm not thinking right now that I'm going to have all of these wonderful things. I just know it's what I want in the future. Right. I know this is how I want to grow. And, there's no way I could use all of the software that it gives us right now. I'm just not ready for it all. But I want to know that I've got it for when I do build up to it in, 2, 3, 4 years. That was my excitement behind it.
Yeah. So so that's Groove Sell. That's when you're selling the product. Groove Affiliate is the ability, number one, when you buy Groove, well, first of all, if you get the free package, you can start advertising and encouraging people to buy it, and you get 20% of every sale. So that's incredible. But if you buy it, you get 40%, and then the people who buy it with your link, you get 10% of anybody that they sell to. So again, it's I mean, maybe you don't want to, but it's available right away just by being a part of it. But under Groove Affiliate, I'm just going to show you here the only promos. I did go in and play around with, there's a Groove Marketplace. And so within Groove, you can advertise your affiliate options. There's like a bunch of people that have started to put their offers out there. So there are a bunch of affiliate options you can have. I played around with that. I think, Ray, I have to get some clarification. You said I was one who, did you say beta? What was the word you used to describe me?
Beta.
Beta? Okay. I was like, well, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but
Beta. It's the same as you say beta. You say beta.
so yeah, I play around with it as much as I can. Anyhow, there's a marketplace to sell. Maybe that's not a great place to focus here.
Show them the mail.
Yeah.
And
So
the member, because that's
yeah. So mail is I used MailChimp. I think Ray uses MailChimp, which is a mailing customer relationship management system.
Yeah, it's free.
I stopped using that. Well, I stopped using it because I wanted to pay for the sequence of emails. So now I use another free one, but this will have all of that. So essentially what you can do in here, I think let's say somebody connects with you and you get their email because you've connected with them. They become a part of your mailing list. You can automate what's called kind of an onboarding sequence. So they get email number 1 that just describes a little bit about you, email number 2 that talks, as a testimonial or whatever, but it's a way, and it's automated. So you don't have to. And so an example of this is in the program I'm using now. I hadn't checked it in a while, and I went back and checked, and there were like 4 people recently who had become a part of it. It's sending emails that I'm not even aware of, and they were opening the emails and clicking the links, which is a great sign that they're very interested in what I'm doing. So that is all going to be a part of Groove Mail. It's not all functioning yet. This is like one of the newest things they just put out.
Yeah, it just came out a few days
but
ago.
it will definitely have all of that in. So you have a list of people who are leads. You go to campaigns and you build your email. I've sent a couple of emails out, just trying it out again. You can create a form, which is it's a capture form that somebody gives you their name and their email and sends you a message or something, and you can put it on any number of websites.
Yeah, so I'll just say something about that. So you don't need to know all of this stuff now, right? You might think,
right.
How am I going to do? I don't know all of this stuff, right? So the only thing you need to know is what Kevin said is you want to indoctrinate the people into your system, into your way of solving problems. And by having an automated email sequence, right? Let's say it's 5 emails that go out, like Kevin said. As soon as they sign up on that page, like the first page Kevin said, where you put your email in, then they get 5 emails over the space of 10 days, 15 days, whatever you set it to. It's all going on in the background. So as what's happening, you're not doing any work. They're just looking at your email with some value. They're maybe clicking a link and watching a video. It's all automatically set up. So you don't have to do any of that. And what's happening is they're going deeper into knowing about you and your work. And some guys have got this set up for like a whole year. So you could, you won't have to do that in the beginning, just start the first 3 to 5. But over time, once you've written enough emails and have enough communication with them, you could set up an entire year worth of emails that automatically get sent out every few days. And you're constantly keeping in touch with them. This is how you get clients, because clients don't usually buy on the first time. They usually take 5, 10, 15, 20 touches before they trust you enough to buy. So you want all of that in the background going on without you having to go and figure it out.
Yeah, really good.
Can I ask a quick question about
Yes.
email?
Mm-hmm.
So with my current domain people, I've got also email with that. And do I assume correctly that I can bring that across as well? And that is then what this all will then go out with that email address that I've got and that kind of thing?
So my understanding is that part of email is coming at some point where you can actually set up like I have, Kevin at nextcoaches.com.
Yeah.
I'm doing that through Office 365 right now. So that specific piece where you can send and receive personal emails is not what Groove Mail is essentially for. Groove Mail is more for sending out broadcasts to a group of people. But I did see something recently where they said they think that I think they said they're going to get to the place where the individual email structure will be here as well. But I'm not positive on that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to figure out how to do that then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This type of mail is like for when you build an audience, right? And they're signing up to your lead magnet, then you blast them, you give them a value in messages, right? Because you can't really do that from Gmail or any normal provider because they'll mark you as spam. So you need a CRM to go to like over like 100 people. So if you've got like just personal mails that you want to send to clients, you do it from your Gmail or whatever you're using, but use this to send out to your audience.
And a lot of times, for that, with your, whoever you have your domain with hosted and your email hosted with, they have packages where you can just do email, and it might be like, $1.99 a month or something, as opposed to the whole web package that, the website and the email and everything else.
Cool. Yeah, I'll have a chat with them. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask, how user friendly is this? I'm not techie, so my son, I've got a website with Wix, which my son set up for me.
Yeah.
I've just got the basic Calendly, which is free at the moment. I'm going to get QuickBooks. Calendly I will start paying for. I can see what Ray said about setting it up now, although you won't use everything now, it's for the future. But I'm just wondering, if I've got my website and then I pull it onto this site, am I then going to be saying, oh, help? I know you did say that you'd help with the landing page, but I don't want to get into a situation where I feel, oh my God, I've got all this new technology and I'm overwhelmed and I don't know what to do with it.
So that's a great question. And I do think that if you didn't set it up in Wix, this isn't, I have Wix actually right now. My main website that I built was in Wix. And so I have until April till that, that I paid for a year. So I'm taking my time and just moving pieces over a little bit at a time because I don't have to get the whole thing working right now. And that's really the attitude I think you have to take with Groove Funnels right now because of the building that they're doing. So the editor, so how user friendly is it? The editor, again, in the past 6 weeks has gone from, I would call it like a 3, rated a 3 editor. It was really clunky. You had to know a lot more than you should have to know. And in the 6 weeks it's gone to, I would say it's like a 6 now. They still have a lot of improvements that are coming to where it's kind of what they call drag and drop. You grab what you want, you put it on there, you resize it, that stuff has gotten so much better just in 6 weeks. And I know it's going to be good, but right now, I think Groove Pages is potentially something that you don't want to, if you're not technical, you don't want to spend your time trying to figure that out. What you want to do is just have someone get that going for you so that you can focus on the emails, the memberships, those kinds of things. But I'm not a good one to give actually feedback on user friendly because I just dig until I figure it out. So and I don't care if it doesn't work right. I get around that and just keep going. So maybe Ray, did you have, or Sanjay, have you tried the user?
I have tried it and I wasn't too bad on it actually.
Good.
Just by watching some of the videos that have been posted online.
Very good help videos.
Yeah, that David Lemon's amazing.
Yeah.
But I am contemplating kind of doing just weekly or fortnightly classes or get-togethers, where we just kind of sit down and jump on Zoom and actually we do something, we're like, right, let's check out this. And who's watched a video on it? Okay, great.
It's a great idea.
Let me show you how to do this. That's kind of something that I'm not set up or anything, but I know myself and a friend are doing it, who's joined, and I just kind of want to build it because I'm not techie, like I'm not, but this is going to be my life kind of all in one. So I want to know about it. I want to learn as much as I can. So if we can do it in a group environment, once a week, then why not?
Yeah, I agree with that, Ray. And the other thing is, I'm also not techie, by the way. It's not my thing. I'm a coach, right? That's what I do. So this is the reason I'm getting this, because if you don't have an all-in-one tool like this, it's such a pain, right? You have to connect all the systems. If one breaks, yeah, it becomes really difficult. Yeah, no problem, Leanne. So if you're interested in what we're offering, so Ray's program, Kevin's going to help you with the funnels. I'll give you a session as well for your business. And all you need to do is buy the tool. Ray's going to give you his link, right, to buy it. Now, something we want to warn you about is that price. It wasn't actually meant to be that price anymore. It's meant to go up $500, which it has. But what they've done is they've done this marketing ploy where if you sign up, they give you like 45 minutes to upgrade to the offer that you saw, the 1397, and they have payment plans. I think they have 188 for every month for 12 months and 497 for 3 months. If you are thinking about it, do the research first, then use Ray's link. You can ask questions, reach out to Ray as well. And then click on it, and then you want to buy, then upgrade, right? So then you don't get timed out, because then you can still get it for that price. If you get timed out, then you'll either have to register with a new email address or pay $500. So you just want to make sure, okay, like I'm ready, then sign up with Ray's link and then do the upgrade, right? And you can check out the payment plans. There's really reasonable ones. I think there's like an 8-month, 12-month, 3-month one. My advice to you is, if you're looking to scale and do group coaching and all of that, this is the thing. I personally waited. I didn't want to be spending, $200 on Kajabi every month, $2,400 a year. So I waited for something like this, and the universe gave it to me. So I took it, and I'm grateful for it, because now I don't have to worry about that anymore. There's no excuses left for me. I kind of hid behind stuff a little bit, like, but then I have to buy this and then I have to buy that. Now there's no more excuses. I can literally build the business I want because I have the tool for it now. So if it is something that you think you want to be doing, like all of these different forms of income, passive income, digital products, group coaching, physical products if you want, and scaling the business. And like Ray said, I'm also doing that as well, putting together a group. So we'll do the same group where we educate each other how to do this. And for Jeanette, like it might seem in the beginning like, I've got to move my website over. But once it's there, you'll be so grateful, because you won't have to connect your Wix to an email provider. You won't have to connect it to a membership or a webinar provider. It just makes life so much easier. If there's ever a problem, you go to one source, which is their help. It just simplifies life for people like us, because we're coaches. We don't want to be doing all of that tech stuff. We just want to be actually coaching, helping people, and growing our business without worrying about the tech. So any questions or anything around that?
I've got a quick question before I go, sorry. I've got a Wix webpage, and I'm really not tech savvy at all. So I don't know what I did. I did something wrong. Anyway, I had to change it. That was fine, changed it. It was to do with the domain. But because I changed it, they then said I was tied into them for like, I don't know, another year or something like that. So I'm not sure if I can move anything over.
So I think maybe you're talking about your domain. And here's the thing. With Groove, so I have my page on Wix, and my domain is in GoDaddy. And with a domain, what I really like about Groove is you have to change just a couple of settings, and I can coach you through how to do that. And you can post through Groove pages without creating a site, moving your site or anything. You can leave the Wix site out there, just nobody will ever see it, because your Groove site will now replace it. When people search, they'll go to a different domain name server, which will point them to Groove, which will point them to your new site. And I'm guessing that that's what it looks like. Your domain is locked in for a year or something. But I can look at that with you if you'd like me to.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Cheers.
All right, so yeah, I mean, Ray, do you have anything to say? So just the last thing from me is, if you think about, if you want that offer, reach out to Ray, and we'll include all of the stuff we said from all three of us, and you'll get that. And we'll also be putting on those classes, so you can actually, you're not left alone trying to figure all of this stuff out. You probably would get quite far alone anyway, but as a group, we're going to be able to just help each other build all of these tools, funnels, like Kevin said, those pages and the membership programs and all of those things together. It's just much easier. And because we're all starting from scratch, which you won't find with anything else, because people have used those tools for a long time, this is the one thing where everyone's starting from the beginning together. So we're all helping each other. You can see in the Facebook communities the same. So anyway, that's the last thing for me. Ray, any from you?
I was just going to quickly ask if there's any more questions from Claire, Leanne or Janet.
No, I'd just like to thank Sanjay. I'll certainly be implementing everything he's told me, really valuable. And thank you, Ray, for telling me about tonight. It's been great. And my headache's gone.
You're very welcome, and great. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, I'd like to second that. It's been really great. Thanks, Ray, for the invite, and Sanjay and everybody else. It's been really useful, really interesting. And yeah, I'm really interested, because I was looking at Kajabi and it almost fell to the floor with the prices.
Yes.
And then this comes along and I'm like, oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks ever so much for all of this. And yeah, I think I'm going to have lots of questions. You know, it's just kind of like moving things over, and what can I close, what can I, you know, with the whole domain thing and stuff. It's all a bit, that's all really new to me as well anyway, if you know what I mean. So trying to get that across, and do I still have to pay for this with this company or that company, or what's going on? So yeah, but
process, Claire. It's like me, you know, it's going to be this thing that I just start to gently move things over, like Calendly. I can't move that over yet. Mailchimp, I'm not ready to move that over yet. So it's like I said, it's definitely something for the future.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've just got a the thing is just kind of like, I've got a domain, so I'm using SiteGround for my websites, and I've got 3 domains with them, and I've actually got one coming up that is due to end. So this is why I kind of want to get that one across before it ends, if you know what I mean, so I don't have to pay for another year, because they're asking for quite a lot of money. So
yeah, again, the thing there will be, you're, as far as I know, you're still going to need to have your domain parked with somebody. Somebody needs to, you know, tell the internet where to look to find your website. But with, I don't know about SiteGround, I can check with them, but you can, for like providers that are just hosting domains, most of them you can just host the domain, and then you just manage the settings, and it's a very, very minimal fee. Like I you know, I'll be paying $2.99 a year to keep my domain active. That's all I pay for the domain itself. Then the website becomes part of Groove Pages, but the domain, they're separate things. So that's kind of a technical thing. The domain is sort of this, it's really inexpensive to have a domain, most domains.
So the domain's like about £15 or whatever, but then they're asking me to pay £150 for hosting the website and stuff like that. So that's the bit that I won't ever have to pay again, but I will just have to pay them to keep my domain name, so that I don't.
Correct.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Okay, I can.
And you say, when is it coming due?
It's due on the 19th of October, so it's.
Yeah, so I think that would be the first site that that would try to help you build in Groove, so that we can, you know, get it as whatever you want on it, and then you can just let that hosting fee go away.
Yeah, because it's just brilliant. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for taking time today.
Thank you.
That's been brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
All right.
All right,
Take
bye.
care. Have a nice rest of the weekend. Bye.
Bye.